Hey, welcome to Wednesday's live stream where I'll be working on PHP Stand Drupal and upgrade status and other Drupal upgrade tooling. This contribution stream is sponsored by Palantir.net, a remote first agile company that gives back to the Drupal project and community. Like these live streams, which is about, I think this is like the 15th one now. So I really appreciate that they invest in the Drupal community and the upgrade tooling that makes going from 8 to 9 and 9 to 10 possible. If you are looking for a job, they have a job opening for a Drupal engineer. To learn more and apply, go to their website, www.palantir.net. All right. I am trying out a new stream setup today, so hopefully everything goes well. I've been using OBS. Well, I've been using Streamlabs OBS, but it didn't automatically record when I went live, and I realized it was only in 720 instead of 1080. So I've gone back to OBS and I've set things up. So hopefully it works out well. I just can't get the chat to show up on my end to make it more easily to monitor. But we'll just see how it goes. And apologize for any coughing. I've been fighting a sinus headache or whatever forever, but I finally got some Ricola. So hopefully it goes smooth. Let me just close out Slack. So I need that and make sure I turn off my notifications. All right. I spent my whole time prepping, trying to figure out how to get the chat to show up instead of actually getting ready here. So I'm gonna start off by working on upgrade status. And for anybody who's not familiar, there's Drupal Rector, which automates the fixing of things, which I should mention. If you use Rector, we have a new release out that was tagged 3 hours ago. This fixes compatibility with the latest Rector itself and includes some other improvements as well. So 0.11.4 is out, and upgrade to it and you get some awesome fixes. So there's Rector, there's PHP Stand Drupal, which is the extension I wrote for PHP Stand. And this makes it so we can do static analysis against Drupal and detect deprecations. Through the sponsors on the sponsorship in these Wednesday streams, we've had several releases go out that improves detection of deprecated services. And then on top of PHP Stand Drupal, there's the upgrade status module. And the upgrade status module is a module you put on your Drupal site. And it can do inspections that PHP Stand can't really get to, like twig templates or asset libraries or deprecated hooks. So once we got Drupal Rector ready, Palantir agreed to sponsor time to work on the other upgrade tools in the ecosystem. So I've been working on upgrade status, and that's where I'm going to go to today, since a lot of the bugs upgrade status found in PHP Stand Drupal have been fixed. So one thing we're working on is there's an error that was showing up in the deprecation analyzer for twig templates. It worked when there was a deprecation inside of Drupal itself, but actually when when the deprecation came from inside twig, it was throwing an error. And we're real close, but for some reason on PHP 9, the files are sorted differently. And I'm not sure why. So we can see here, we assumed that the spaceless tag would be first, but we're getting the deprecated filter came first. And if we look at our test fixtures, wrong code base. Let me minimize PHP Stand Drupal since we won't be using that. So if we look at this, we go to the test. Now S comes before T, so I assume that the spaceless test would in fact come back first. And when we run the kernel test, if I run this, it should, fingers crossed, just work. It passes as well. It assumes that the first error is, oh wait, no we don't. In my kernel test, I even have it assumed this way, and I have it the wrong way in the functional test. So I shot myself in the foot here. All right, let's see. 137. Here we go. So array shift. So I added it to an array shift to pick off the first error. But what we could do is file is array unshift. I guess that's what we need to do, is say array unshift to remove the last line. And I believe I was running this locally. So let's give that a try again. So we're going to do, I'm going to open a new tab in my terminal. PHP-S, and we're on a local web server. And let's run this test. It does a lot. Let's run it. And I want to see if, I can get this to pass locally. So wait, array unshift. If I can get to the right stub. Oh, prepend elements to the beginning of an array. Nope, that is definitely not what I want. Array splice. Okay. Shift an element off the beginning. Oh, pop. I want array pop. I want to pop an item off the end of the array of the files and do my assertions there. Just make sure. All right, I believe that's how I want it to work. We'll run the test, and we'll see. I want to try to run, even though it's slow to run locally, I want to try to, because otherwise I have to wait. I have to try and queue 2 tests on Drupal CI and wait for it to go. I'm gonna actually comment back. I made mistakes on the ordering assumptions. In the kernel test I added space, the error message for spaceless is the second one. Which I could be, maybe I could actually be smarter about this. Where instead of doing an array pop and then array shift, I could just do array, I could then do another array shift afterwards. That probably makes more sense. It's just the way I have these different asserts and counts. Let's see. It's just, okay, so it's doing the batch process. So we can see it's processing. Okay, got the status report. Let's look at the result. And that didn't do it. All right, let's try. Sorry, I'm going to try something else. So we can see that there's 3 files. So array pop didn't do it because array pop gave us the last item. So I'm going to say this. Get Drupal core version. It's greater than or equal to 9. Not 0. So equals. And we're just going to shift the file again. So by doing array shift, we're shifting an element off the beginning. So it's like just saying like, okay, give me the first item off the array and removing items from the array. This should do it. It took 1:33 seconds. We'll run that one more time. Base error info is used down here. Okay, we'll wait for that to go through. I'm gonna see if I can get this chat to dock. It won't. So there's like the widget But when I'm not focused on OBS, the chat box disappears, and there's a way to make it mount or dock, but I can't get it to you for some reason. Oh well. And I'm hoping that we can test this then. And that this passes, because then we can merge this, or get this merged, which will help catch proper errors. Because right now it's throwing a notice and not properly reporting. Which means that developers have to go figure out why it's doing that, and the whole point is to like tell them why without them having to go dig. Oh. What? So what? So this errored here because the sorting, why are we having these sorting issues? Because when I had, let's see, let's look at the result history. When I ran it before, nope, that was here, 210. Yeah. Oh, that was because I ran it with it at the bottom. All right, let's delete these. We'll run it again here, and I'm going to go look at where these are built inside of the deprecation analyzer. Let's turn off this. No, turn off the breakpoint and twig deprecation analyzer. So we get the extension, and that returns all the deprecations. Okay, well, let's look at the analyze. Collect deprecations. Template dir iterator comes from twig. Twig recursive iterator. This is coming from upgrade status. I want to see if there's some way we can make this be more deterministic. I guess we haven't had problems before. And it fails on Drupal 9, which means there's a difference between Twig 1 and Twig 2. So let's make a note. Template iterator. One thing. Twig 1 or D8 has Twig 1 and D9 has Twig 2. Maybe something changed in template dir iterator. Not that, okay, so it passed, but it's failing on D9 in, it's failing on Drupal 9 with PHP 7.4, which what do I have right now? I have 8. I wonder if that's the difference for some reason. Let's just look in here. File scan, ignore directories, recursive callback, no. All right, so function current use exclude. There's exclude, there's the name. Return name is not equal to dot. Current is directory. Leaves only. Not hidden directories. Okay, so this is definitely not it. Excuse me. Let's look a little bit more. All right, so one area could be this iterator. which I really doubt. What is it? GitHub.com. Is it just twig? Maybe it's under Symfony. Twig. All right, where's the GitHub repo? Dev? No. Development. Create a ticket. Oh, it's Twig PHP Twig. So D8 has branch 1 and branch 2, but I wasn't able to reproduce the ordering problem on my local with PHP 8. So that means I just need to brew unlink. Let's go back to PHP 7.4 and see if this makes a difference. Wait for that to go. What was I looking at? Class alias to twig util. Let's see. Twig util. So this is the same in 1.x. What about the deprecations collector? For each iterator as name. Oh, maybe. Hold on. Let's read through the difference to see if there's. I just want to see if there's any difference between 1.x and 2.x that could explain why the ordering is different. Regular expression iterator, recursive iterator, recursive directory iterator. This collect, new template dir. Nope. Collect. We've already built the iterator. So deprecations. For each iterator is named contents. Yeah. That's the exact same. Except it has its own error handler in 1.x. Let's see. Love the upgrade status module. We've been using it quite a bit. So many sites waiting for last minute to upgrade before end of life. Yeah, and I really appreciate the sponsorship from Palantir for that reason. Is it's actually helped drive home a lot of great last minute fixes. As people finally get over the edge. I know PHP Stan, it got a lot of love, or PHP Stan Drupal got a love in the beginning. But then I just didn't have time, and it was a really big maintenance burden. So it's great to have some sponsorship to make sure that this is fully featured. All right, so it doesn't look like the sorting is due to anything in Twig. All right, I'm back to PHP 7.4. I just gotta make sure PHP Storm is aware that things changed. Test frameworks. All right. PHP S. I'm gonna run the test again, and it's probably gonna be a lot slower since we're not on PHP 8. But I just wish I knew why we had a difference in sorting, and why it's only in the Twig files. Like nothing else has a problem inside of upgrade status with sorting. Right, because yeah, it creates the iterator. Get contents, key, parent key, cursive iterator. It creates the callback. We should order it in the same way. So we get the directory, recursive iterator. Keys path main, current is file info. Skip dots. Recursive iterator callback. Iterator to be filtered. The callback, which should return true to accept the current item or false. There. The test pass. Why can't I reproduce this failure on that's happening on Drupal CI? Can we make our scanning logic order the file names to make sure they're consistent? There's got to be something weird. I'm gonna go back to PHP 8. All right. Iterator, current, yeah. Twig recursive iterator. Construct a. Let's do some reading to see if there's some way. Default only list leaves an iteration. Right, that's what we're looking at here. Yeah, we have it set to leaves only, which is the default. List leaves and parents in iteration with parents coming first. List leaves and parents. List leaves and parents in iteration with parents coming first. List leaves and parents in iteration with leaves coming first. List only leaves in iteration. Recursive iterator. All right. Twig recursive iterator, recursive iterator, iterator, recursive directory iterator. Let's do PHP order. I'm going to see if there's something around the recursive directory iterator order. Just interface to certain filter directory interfaces. What is this? Installed composer. What is this? All right. Directory walker. No, I don't want the directory walker. Definitely not this then. So directory, skip dots. Directory, skip dots. Recursive sorting, iterator. Okay, we're gonna ditch this. Excuse me. Is not sorted. Reported is not a bug. So recursive directory with recursive directory iterator with recursive iterator, not sorting all values by name like on Windows. All right, so recursive callback filter iterator is receiving our item here. The manual does not guarantee anything about the order. Recursive directory iterator and the other file system based iterators iterate in the order that the OS returns the files to them. All right. So anything about the order? Let's see. Oh, suggested can we try ksort in our twig checker class at the stopgap? Should not take too much performance hit. I know it should not should not identify the root problem. If we need alphabetical order, we should force our order. Yep, that makes a lot more sense than me trying to get all deep in the weeds about why it's not happening. Actually, this is probably a good thing because it's more deterministic than my brain working. It's more deterministic than my brain working. But Windows, it's always Windows. So we got a ksort here or not. So let's call this deprecations equals collect deprecations. Let me say ksort. Never mind. Deprecations. And then it's ksort deprecations. What I'm going to try to do is, let's see. Let's do PHP-S, PHP-D. There we go. Xdebug mode, debug. So this is how you can run the built-in PHP web server with Xdebug. You do PHP-D, Xdebug mode, debug, D, start with request. That means auto start. And it's going to run at 1080 on the web directory. So what I'll do, I'm going to run the test. I have my incoming debug listener ready. So what I want to test is once we hit the batch which starts running it, we should get a breakpoint hit right here, which allows us to ksort the deprecations. All right. Yes, we want to listen here. The only problem would be making sure we drop ksort in all the various areas, but I think we should just worry about that when it happens. The deprecations is 0, 0, hit play. Let's say, oh, I tried to put a condition on it, but oh shoot, I removed it. All right, deprecations is 0 again. It's not empty. Deprecations. I'm gonna put a condition on that to only breakpoint when there are deprecations. Did I really read? We make our scanning logic order file names. Did I really miss over the ksort? Okay, deprecations. Excuse me. So, oh, I see. So we can't even just ksort here. We have to ksort in a later area. So we don't want to ksort this. This is all fine. Where we want the ksort is in the deprecation analyzer. So for each twig, oh, I see. So it's going to be even at the bottom. Right. We want to ksort this. These files. I guess the problem is, do we want to ksort it at the bottom so it's all completely sorted? But data files, messages. I just realized that the deprecations aren't necessarily sorted by the different types. So let's go to where this is returned. So I guess we would do a case sort on the result files. All right. Let's see how this turns out. So yeah, so then all the files would be sorted alphabetically. And that's where all messages are stored. I was thinking that each group would need to have its own case sort added, but we can just do it at the end. So let's look at result, data, files. That's empty. So let's do a breakpoint. So if condition not empty result files. Because again, how upgrade status works is you submit the form and it has a batch. And that batch has individual calls to scan each module. It only had one file in it. Result. Data files 1. I should have updated the condition to say if there's more than one file. Files 5. All right, so we sort. Oh. Well, this is interesting. The key name gets truncated. I wonder if that plays a difference in it too. So it says it comes back differently based on the operating system. I'm on Mac OS. And I'm running the web server on Mac OS, not Linux. So that could play part of it as well. Library exception. So these don't have the fully qualified or full paths either. Okay, what info file error path? Extension is obsolete. Run modules. So I wonder if part of the problem of sorting this is going to be to the fact that oh, actually, let's do not empty. It's going to be a much better check if twig deprecations aren't empty. The file names are all truncated. So if we look at result, data, and files, so in here they're not, but in other times they were. So here we have spaceless test twig info. If we step over, it's the same. I guess I'll just push it up to Drupal.org and we'll see what happens. Debugger. The files. So if we step over, so that actually did sort everything, which means that a bunch of tests are probably going to fail. Yeah, so tests are probably going to fail because now we've changed the sort order of everything. Like in the theme. Expected. Oh, this messed everything up. The theme is overriding. for 0, 2, 0, 1 index. So message 0 is supposed to be line 2, 0, 1, and that got completely overridden. Yeah. Yep. Let's not case sort right there, and we'll just do it. One second, I'm trying to think. Like, I don't want to case sort anything that got reported before this. So I'm just trying to. I'm trying to think of what would be the best way to handle this. All right, I actually want to. Oh, wait, that's the library. So twig, because if we were to put the case sort right here, that would sort everything that was found beforehand. So and analyze, instead of returning the map, we'll say deprecations equal return deprecations. Do a case sort on deprecations. We have a breakpoint, not empty. Deprecations. And then this remains the same. Let's try this out. Because then none of the tests should be broken. Oh, but again, in here, the stop. Use sort array. So the key, we can't sort by key here necessarily because of the fact that it's still keyed by, it's still a regular array. We need to sort by the deprecation message, the message value. So we would need to do a use sort. So we got deprecation message A, deprecation message B. What is it, like return string, string compare. Int 0 if less, 0 is greater than 0, or if int is less 0 if, that makes that documentation feels, it was copied in wrong. Returns less than 0 if string 1 is less than string 2, or greater than 0 if string 1, or 0 if they're equal, which is exactly what you return to a sort. So we're going to take A, get file, and B, get file. So this will sort the array based off of the file name that they came from. And we're going to run this one more time. Unless we processed all of these and then merged them in. Actually, we could do that. I have another idea that we could do. We could, I'm just going to use comments here because I don't want to break an analyzer. We could say deprecations equals for each. And then later on, we could say result data files equals array merge. So we can keep grouping all the deprecations into an array. And then we could do array merge and deprecations, and that would combine everything. So that way we could sort each group, or we could just have it be equals. So instead of keying everything off the bat, we could key it and then do an merge of all the sub arrays before we turn it. Just to see. So spaceless test, usort, it's the same. See, is there a way to shoot, didn't want to stop that. Let's run it again. I want to replicate the bug so I can prove a fix. This is proven to be extremely impossible. Not extremely impossible, it's just difficult. Actually, just stop. I could probably let it go. We'll just do array reverse. There. This is easy enough to do. We'll do an array reverse, which is going to flip-flop them for me. And there we go. So this way we can ensure that the sort actually works as expected by just forcing it to be reversed automatically. For some reason on Mac OS, it's always returning in order regardless of PHP version, but on Drupal CI with Linux, it's not. I have no idea why at all. Right. So wait for this to catch. All right, so deprecations, we have test. T is not before S, so if we step over, it sorted everything for us. Great. So this is one way we could do it, but the problem is that we would have to do this across the board to ensure that everything is sorted properly. But what we could do is, so for each deprecation is message, we could say, no, I'm not, because then I got to modify this entire, I got to modify everything over here. So I'm just going to leave it like this. Ensure files are sorted properly. And if this comes up on anything else, then I will dig harder into it, because the other thing is, like, no one cares the sorting order. We only do in test. So we could make our test be more resilient on the order of results, so it doesn't matter. But this is the easier fix. And we'll just do that. So let's review the changes, which is just to sort the files. Commit it as sort those files. Commit anyway and push. All right. Now I need to wait for Drupal CI to kick off on that commit. And once this is done queuing, I can add the Drupal 9 test run. All right, it's running right away. It got queued and executed. So let's add the 7.4. I'm tempted to do PHP 8.2, but let's not waste the Drupal Association's money. It's not entirely required. All right, well, that's running. I'm going to look at this next issue here. So we found an interesting bug where if you had your Drupal site as the like an original build that's not composer, and your composer.json in the root folder has the name Drupal, everything breaks because of the Webflow Drupal Finder package has some hard-coded instructions. If I can find it here. I commented on it here somewhere. I thought I explicitly commented it here instead of in my tweet. Oh, that's not it. So here, I'll just show really quick to explain what the problem is. It's not really a problem either, it's just a gotcha. So if the current package is Drupal, it says, oh, the install path is just the current directory, nothing else. Otherwise, it tries to find it and make it more intelligent. So what we need to have is a pre-flight check that runs Drupal Finder and verifies that the install path matches. Yeah, something around those lines. Because right now, this throws an exception. So the initial patch was that if the JSON name is Drupal, throw an exception, but Drupal CI doesn't use composer builds. It uses the development trunk, which is Drupal. So we'll need to do some work here. So let's close down the built-in server. Git checkout 8.x, 3.x. Let's do a pull. I don't think there's any commits. Oh, there was. There were. Check out this issue fork and his branch and try to make some magic happen. So there are pre-flight checks that take place in deprecation analyzer itself. Deprecation analyzer. Prepare environment. No. Init environment. Here we go. Oh. We have this here. This finder. Oh, perfect. So if anything in this init environment throws an error, it just upgrades status, says, whoa, and tells you what's wrong. So what we need to do is mimic the actual error that's happening here. So it was trying to load includes. So in here it's showing app core includes. Well, that's not actually a directory. The PHP stand code itself says if not root, unable to detect root. We do load legacy includes. So we find Drupal root core includes. So what we could do, locate root, we could just say if not isdir, this finder Drupal root core. No new. Make up some words. Hello. So the idea here is that if we detected the Drupal root, but there isn't the core directory, like something went wrong. Something went very, very wrong. And we need to come up with a good error message. Let's see what we can do. What did, what? Name property is Drupal. Drupal, change this to a custom value. And that's okay. So this one needs a lot of bike shedding with words. If a Drupal project uses Composer for its build, but so it could even use Composer, but it's still not the so if a Drupal project uses a Composer build template, the name property in composer.json must not be Drupal. Otherwise, the Webflow Drupal Finder package will assume we are not in a Composer build. Composer scaffolded site. I don't know. Words are hard. I don't know if this is the issue that needs you to follow up on. Let's see. No, this issue is about the fact that if somebody has a Drupal site and the name, so if right, like this is a Composer build where we have the root Composer JSON and the web. So core directory is web core. If I change this to be called Drupal, the Webflow package would bail out because it assumes I'm in the development trunk or development or the dev repo and not a composer scaffolded project. So if a Drupal project uses Composer is built with scaffolding. Oh, so many words. I'm going to come up with something and then we can decide on it later. But this way it also just helps. So one thing I've had too, when I have, like, it's not a hard problem to fix, but it's just complicated logic. Just writing these comments out makes me even write the next lines of code a little bit easier. So if a Drupal project is built with Composer scaffolding, the name property in composer.json must not be Drupal. If it is, the Webflow Drupal Finder package will assume we are not in a Composer scaffolded project and assume Drupal core is in the root directory. There, I think that helps summarize it. Could not detect Drupal core. Could not detect path to Drupal core if you are using a composer. Oh, I don't even know. Like, these words are so hard. Really, I would like to just fix Webflow because I think it would make it a lot easier. This just says if is an array, installer paths, core, just says like, it basically says like if the current name is Drupal, then don't consider there to be a path, but support it. And here, all right, let's find that. Let's find the actual core composer JSON. So installer paths, core. Well, maybe. Oh, because there is no slash core. That's why. I want to be fancy here, but I'm not sure how. Because there's no way. Oh, maybe. So, one thing I just realized, it doesn't have the project message or scaffolding in its root dependent project message. It does, and vendor hardening, but not the composer scaffold. Yeah, I can't think of an elegant way to fix this. So Drupal root. What is this even? And Bootstrap. This should give you the web directory. Composer, JSON, path, real path. So the real path would be Drupal root composer JSON, but then that could be wrong because this is the Drupal root according to a non-composer build, but then I guess we wouldn't have an error. Let's see. Let's do. I got Docker running. No, I do not. I forgot to turn on Docker. Let's actually just start experimenting with this. So I gotta wait for Docker to boot up, and then I'll start my environment. And let's see. So what errors are you having with the installer paths beyond this? That's where I'm curious, because I know this problem is just when somebody's root composer.json is a scaffolded project but says Drupal, so Webflow Finder just bails out, which breaks PHP stand Drupal. Let's do ddev start. Oh, so I just got to build because I did a Docker prune. So I had like 20 gigs of unused Docker images. So I finally cleaned that up. All right. So one thing I want to do is ddev SSH. PHP vendor bin drush. Oh, composer require. I don't have drush on here? Apparently I did not. Let's log in. So I can test some ideas. Because this is going to be one of those problems that it's not hard, but it just is confusing to put in words. I know I had to walk 2 people through this. Oh, Drupal Spoons does some Composer JSON hackiness I was fighting with. Oh yeah, I've never touched Drupal Spoons. So I don't know anything about that. All right, just finish extracting the archive. Just come on. So one of the worst parts about Docker on Mac is the disk IO, which is like annoying, like in some cases, but like this extracting archives that are big is just such a pain. Not reports. I don't even remember how to run upgrade status. Sorry. Did I reinstall the site? Okay, here we go. This is much easier. PHP, let's open a PHP shell so I can play around, and I'll make sure. Oh, must have reinstalled the site. All right, so let's copy this command. Let's do file get contents in the composer JSON path. So the idea is that we can get the file and check the name. So guess the only problem would be let's run it. I'm gonna run it this way, and if it doesn't work on a regular Drupal site or like a development trunk of Drupal, we'll find out because it breaks Drupal CI. So I'm gonna try to punt any extra over engineering until just now. So composer data equals is JSON decode file get contents composer JSON path. Let's do var export composer data. So we've got the object. So let's say if composer data name is equal to Drupal, and I want to add an else in there too. Cannot detect path to Drupal core. Let's see, replace quotes. Your composer.json file at composer JSON path has change the name property in composer.json from, let's replace the quotes. Change the name property in composer.json path from Drupal to a custom value. So we'll do that. We'll throw an so if the name is Drupal, composer JSON path, I guess we'll do, let's just make this even if file exists, let's just go all out. Composer JSON path, throw new exception, could not find your Drupal, could not find the composer.json file for your Drupal site, assumed. So if we can't find the JSON file, we throw an exception that says, hey, we couldn't even find it. Boom. That helps take care of one edge case and a random error. Where's the routing? How do I open this routing? Oh, it is in reports. I just don't know how to read. And it wasn't installed. Forgot. It wasn't installed. So if we can't find the composer.json and the name is Drupal, change the property name, else throw new exception, cannot detect the location of the Drupal core. Please open an issue. So I think we should say if something weird really happens, we should open an issue. And pre-flight checks, yep, just go to PHP 8. Now, test this. Open composer JSON. If I change this to be Drupal. I knew there'd be an error somewhere. So JSON decode and as associative to true instead of an object. Wait, what a second. Hold on. Requirement. Why is there no error here? Enable xdebug. Composer JSON path, var dev HTML composer JSON. Composer data. Name is Drupal. Message. Why don't I see an error? Hold the phone. Why don't I see init environment, build environment checks? I thought this was supposed to throw an error. but I'm not seeing it. Scan selected. So it's not letting me scan anything, but I'm not seeing the error message. What? Analyzer ready. Disabled this messenger. Why is this not showing an error message? No, not custom block library. I want to look at the blocks for 7. Is my site just silly? Status messages. Why aren't they showing up? Run the report to detect. Yes, we have the exception. Custom messenger. Add message. There's flashbag add. Add status on warning. Add. I'm just going to play that. And then it reloaded without. Like, why? Why is this doing this? It's like the most basic of things. New elements. Message list. It's doing the lazy builder. Oh, Drupal.ajax is not a function. So I found a bug in upgrade status, I think. That's something. So right now, the site is using Big Pipe to stream in the data, but play. Drupal Ajax is not a function because Big Pipe relies on Ajax. Why? What in the world is going on? So Big Pipe says it needs that. Let's go to what in the world? No, Ajax is there. I honestly don't even know what is happening right now. Mindrush CR. So Big Pipe isn't working because it says Drupal Ajax doesn't exist. But if we look at our sources, we should define Drupal behaviors Ajax. Drupal.ajax equals settings there. Cannot read undefined. Reading is focusable. What is this? Ref is focusable. Tab. Bootstrap hook. Why did this fail? Oh, yeah. Initialize hooks. Hooks. All right, well, I'm just going to assume my environment is hosed, and that's why this is happening. And I'm just going to push this fix up. Add warnings around composer, JSON detection, and name property. Excuse me. I wonder if, oh, you know what? Let's change this back. I wonder if Drush CR even gets messed up. Oh, so Drush even breaks if you have the wrong name, it seems. So Drush breaks. That happens. Let's just open a merge request. I'm gonna put this to needs review. Added code. Oh, I want to make sure I tag Palantir. So added code to check if the core directory cannot be found. If it cannot, we try to load the composer.json and check the name property. Added extra warnings along the way to try and bring clarity to this obscure bug. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Drush uses Finder as well. So that's what I don't get. Is like if people have, then that means they don't use Drush, but they're using upgrade status. Unless they're using an old version of Drush. So I don't know. I mean, I've never had this happen before. But then again, I'm finding out there's lots of things with PHP Stand Drupal that are just now getting shaken out of the woodwork as people are now like really beginning to upgrade. Oh, yay. The test pass. I'm going to put needs review. Woo. The sorting solved the problem. No idea why my Mac OS would be the same on PHP 7.4 and PHP 8.0 with Drupal 9. But on Drupal, it was cranky. All right. So those will be two nice things to get added for upgrade status if this pulls through. Let's see, that's running. Time is it? 3:23. All right. Console output. This is still running. All right. That's boop, 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 boop. Unable scan. PHP binary not found. This is something we just recently added. I'm not able to press the scan button because the error message appears at the top of the page. I've installed correctly all requested modules on an 8.9.19 legacy Drupal site, core dev, upgrade status, composer deploy. Do you have command line executable file in the system? What? Is this constant used anywhere? No. Why? All right. Find PHP path. All right. executable finder, get env PHP binary. So that's weird. You needed to hard code in PHP bindir. The Symfony PHP executable finder relies on that too. PHP equals so you get the arguments. Let's find arguments. PHP binary. Returns the current executable. If PHP binary is not set, nor PHP path, nor PHP paired by bin, the PHP, put it in code, PHP bin directory constant is a last resort that the class uses. It's used to determine directory. What kind of setup do you have? Are you on Windows or Mac OS or Linux? Is your Drupal site running on your host or in a local development stack? I'm not sure how or why this would have been missed. Can you try this command and post the output? So the next step is to say what in the world version of Symfony process is running. What I wish you could do, composer show. I wish you could do composer show and only list the version. Like, I don't want all this extra stuff. As far as I know, help, you can only composer show logged platform available, self, name only, free, latest, outdated, ignore. So we gotta say composer show. Oh, you know what? Darn it. Symfony. Let's go to Symfony. They said they're on a legacy build, right? Legacy Drupal site 8.9. Let's go to 8.9. Composer JSON, right? We got to go to core and composer.json. Composer JSON. Symfony process is 3.4. So let's look at what is inside the Symfony 3.4 code. For process, component, process, PHP executable finder. It is the exact same thing. I checked, and Symfony 3.4 to 4.x looks to be the same code, so I do not think it's something in the library. Yeah, I guess let's do postpone needs more info. And let's see. Oh, don't leave the page. Okay, they've been on Drupal.org for a while. Feel free to ping me in D9 Readiness Slack channel to walk through this. Do this as it looks to be really edge case. So this is goofy. And that's kind of the summary of PHP Stand and PHP Stand Drupal development. Is everything is an edge case. So, like, why? The wilder part is that this constant is a directory. Oh, Binder set on compile time, not runtime. Set compile time. We could change that at a later date. Let's look at the stub. Oh, this doesn't. Yeah, that's. We can edit. What's more odd is that is a directory. So even though you may scan, the scans should be failing. To the 17, the last check is using the constant PHP bin directory. Passes extra. The problem is that executable finder first searches the path environment variable, and then as a second try, in extra directories. If you have multiple PHP versions installed, you may find the binary user bin PHP, while the current user is somewhere else. And that's why this is there. All right. Success. That passed. So let's go to the next issue, whatever it is. Yeah, I didn't even know that was there at compile time. Issue, I missed the reply notifications. I've done your suggestions, deleting the vendor PHP send folder and the vendor bin symlinks and run composer install. That fixed the issue for me. Although they looked fine when you checked them, so I'm not sure what fixed the issue exactly. It sounds like you all may have found the root cause of the issue, though. Okay, I'm just going to say... thanks for getting back. Good to know that everything is working now. I wish we could. I have no idea why the symlinks could have been broken. So we had this issue. So to back up, just in case you didn't catch this on an earlier stream, when you have your composer build, That's not open Siri. What? So if I do LSL in vendor bin, these are all actually symbolic links to the code inside the vendor directory. And we have typo 3 stream wrapper for FAR files. FARs are PHP executable archives. For some reason, when it was running PHP stand.far, or rather this file, which is a symlink, it was trying to do a while loop over the and stream it, and the end of file was always off by 1 type of a thing. Like it would crash because it would say, if not end of file, get the next bits, but the bits would be empty because it actually had hit the end of the file. It was a weird problem. It's just one of those, like, I don't think we'll ever be able to reproduce it, but they made a fix in the typo 3 library. It's just we have to wait till we can get a core release that bumps that and is taken into consideration. PHP stand fails under Windows, and we made a fix to give an absolute PHP path, but under Windows this was causing issues, it seems. Oops, accidentally put that into the snippet summary. Oh, yep, shoot. Let's see. Moving on to the issue summary. The vendor bin PHP should be a script with the hashbang. From memory, this file was not PHP, but rather a bash script that converted Windows to Linux in some paths, and then it ran a PHP stand. That's why it couldn't be run with PHP. Which I feel like that used to be something PHP stand shipped with. Like there used to be another file. There's PHP stand, and then there's PHP stand.far. Let's go back in time real quick. Let's go to February. Oh, browse files. Nope. Like I think I recall this. Browse files here. Could be completely wrong. Let's go back even further in time. But this would be really old, so I don't know how they'd have this old a version of PHP stand. No. It's not here, so I don't think it could be. Okay, so I don't know where to take that next. Support Drupal's Lenient. Endpoint. Many users might not be familiar with the new option, the Lenient Composer facade. For modules that have patches, so I don't even know how we'd begin to integrate this. But for those who aren't familiar with it, there's a new Composer endpoint that is more lenient and basically says we don't care about what major version it says it's available for. We'll let you install it anyways. So what you would do is you would replace this line here with packages.drupal.org with lenient. So you would just say lenient, and that just makes it easier to install your Drupal 8 modules that are ready for Drupal 9 but don't have releases yet, or it's the one line fix to change this core requirement. Add new message, check if any newer patches are available. Node get revision author. I was following on this. Yeah, I'm gonna close it. Carry it over the conversation and get on GitHub. Closing. Just save it. So the issue here was that node get revision author wasn't being detected as a deprecated method. And that's because get revision author is on the revision log interface and is actually get revision user. But in this case, they had a hook that was receiving entity interface. And while entity interface doesn't have that method, so it's not deprecated. If we ran PHP stand without just deprecations, like as a whole reporting, it would say that, hey, get revision author is not a method of entity interface, which means that you should do type hinting to make sure that the object is the appropriate type, and then the deprecation would have came up. So there's kind of a double-edged sword here. Not double-edged sword. There's a gotcha. People need to start using PHP stand all the way. Like, start inspecting your code with PHP stand, not just for deprecations, because you're not going to catch bugs like this. You know, you're using this interface here, and you're not actually type hinting it to be the object it actually is. Because if you have a function name that accepts entity interface, well, guess what? Nodes are entity interfaces, so it passes. But you're not going to get all the type hinting of what is available on a node entity type. So yeah, this is just one of those, like, there's not much we can do. Closing, since the type hinting should fix, nothing much can be done in this library. Oh, for Lenient, you don't need to replace your /8. You just add it. Oh, because it only contains the subset that require it. Nice. Sweet. I was wrong. Read the chat. Scan and export buttons are non-clickable. Hey, is this the issue I was having? Wait, the error is printed right at the top of the page. So the error that needs to be fixed is this. Composer.json file is not found at /composer.json. All right, so Catablogger looks like it is the same dreaded issue as the Drupal. And this is another one. I'm gonna postpone it. Need more info. Moving for needs info to see if Catablogger can confirm it's the Drupal bug, and we have try issue report handled in another issue. Buttons were, in my case, the temp directory was not writable. Oh, that's actually maybe not. Hold on. I missed this little nugget. In my case, the temp directory was not writable, and upgrade status module's deprecation analyzer was not able to create the neon, and it was erroring. So maybe, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is something that core even checks to see if temp isn't writable, but temporary directory, if not file exists, prepare temp directory, if not success. Oh, so it's giving the error about that. Let me look at the screenshot. They didn't put any of the error messages. Oh, I got confused because they are not the reporter of this issue. So there's just a few different things going on. You don't think people scroll up to the top when they see the gray buttons just get confused? Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I had the same problem, but I'm having one due to the fact that messages weren't even showing up at all. So if we go to reports, upgrade status. Oh, scan selected. Let's see. So what's weird is my site just breaks all over the place if I change that. Oh, here we go. I wonder if we have the exception here. Let's try something out real quick. Form. Oh, but never mind. Status messages. Once you render the messages, it deletes them all. So if we were to try to render this twice, it wouldn't do anything. And we don't have a way to scroll up to Drupal messages, I don't believe. So what I'm trying to see is we have all the, why am I missing unclassified? Where's the dev? Oh, miscellaneous, ES6. So this sets it, but there's no way to scroll. I wish there was a like scroll to messages, like, you know, scroll to data Drupal messages. But what I think we could do, and I'm going to add this to my one pull request. So we'll say if analyzer ready, form, Drupal upgrade status form. Oh, why don't we, let's try this real quick. Let's make sure this type is set to actions. Right, yeah. Actions, and we'll say warning. Due to errors, you cannot run this scan. See messages at the top of the page. I wish there's a way we could like replay them. Oh, duh. Wait, there is. Not. Is there? Hold on. I have ideas. Wait, is this only set here? form next step, steps, step info. I have an idea. I have an idea. Or wait a second. If so, oh, actually, you know what? If we're throwing an error here, it's getting set. It's being sent to the It's being sent to the status block, which has possibly already been rendered. I'm gonna try two things here. One, we'll put that there. So let's try this out. Let's do a weight of 100. Let's put that at the bottom. Awesome. Thanks for resubscribing or subscribing for 2 months. I appreciate that. We recently changed the code to add scanning will not be possible until this error is returned to the end of any kind of error found. So that's not what we want. Let's add warning. So that's still not the greatest. No, I'm going to comment that out. Now, what if we did warning is theme status messages. Where's the block? Render element. Case of message. Messages. Let's do the same thing. There we go. Type status message. What if we try this out? I mean, I guess that works a little bit better than I was expecting, because it still shows it at the top and bottom. I thought they would get flushed out. So let's do, let's look at the action element. Actions. That is a weight of 101. 90. Set weight lower than action element. Actions elements 100. All right, so if we refresh this page, gonna get a nice error up top, and then I'm gonna get that down there. Now the let's see. Let's put this into here. See if we can get this to. No. Oh, because if I define it up here, so hold on. Let's check something out here. Enable xdebug. So form. Okay, so Drupal upgrade status form is not actually defined in here. So why don't we just hit a stoppy stop. I'm going to delete these keys. Let's just rename these to actions to make it like other forms. All right, so you have actions. That gives it a weight of 100. We have warning, which is the weight of 90. And now we should have a form which shows an error up top and also shows it at the bottom above the disabled buttons. I think it would be better to only display a single message at the bottom. Otherwise, if you have a security update or other Drupal problem, it shows up twice. That's a good point. So let's not do this. All right, let's get it. Let's refine it a little bit more. And then we can, so theme, status messages, status headings. You know what? Let's do this. So messages is our messages are. Try to actually speak a little bit properly. So why don't we do this? So we got our warning, theme, status messages, message list is just the one error. Set the weight lower than actions, then the actions element. It's 100. That reads so weird, but I think that's right. So now there's no error messages. So I think that should solve the problem if there's like security updates. We scroll down and that's not exactly what else. Oh, because it's keyed by type, isn't it? Messages type. So I need to change this to be error is an array. Okay, there we go. So now we can just have the error at the bottom. And then that way we don't have to worry about security updates, right? Like status report, available updates. Did available. It's not warning me, but this way, so we can see all these requirements and they get to go scan, and we see that there's some errors. We could, if we want to, display it at the top and bottom. I think there could be some benefit into doing it at the top and the bottom. So why don't we just change this to be called warnings equals. We could say, I'm just going to toss it up like this. We'll just leave it like this for now. So you can go through, scan, and see that change the name property, blah, blah, blah. I'll push it up. If you want me to spin out to another merge request, I can do that. Or I should just do that. Scan and export buttons aren't clickable. Since I only got 2 minutes left, I'm going to just push it here and we can move it into its own issue if we need to. Make the error button render, make the error messages render near buttons so users understand why they cannot run scans. So we'll do a push anyway, and let's take a screenshot, and this was under, I put it under here. Just add a message about this commit. I added commit, link to commit. after reading that previous issue, we can split off into a new one, but my dev stream was coming to a close. I opted to push up rather than let it sit for a week. This makes it a bit more prominent as to why scans cannot be run. All right, so I like this. It makes it a little bit easier to understand why a scan cannot run. Let's upload it, embed it. Part of me does think it would be interesting to have it somewhere else, so maybe not have to remove. All right, so remove, update, scan. I guess, can you scan all the things? I guess you could scan all the things. I'll just put it at the bottom. That's at least better than it is now. I'm just going to bail on that issue. And before I wrap up the stream, I just want to do a quick look over to see if there's anything I might be missing for PHP Stan. I know this has an issue, to see if I can run on it. I want to figure out what I'm going to do next week. Next week I want to get back and I want to make sure I get to some feature development rather than just triaging the top of the queue. So let's see. What do I have pinned? I think I pinned all these things. So browser test space default theme rule, false positives needs to account for profile. That is one. Add checks to ensure that pre-render callbacks are closure. Boom, that's that issue right there. Let's make sure I have this linked. 5.3, yep. The other top pinned one is done. So let's see what else. Group check, custom install profile is reported as an extension that should be uninstalled. That happened to me. PHP Stan for PHP 8. That's what I'll actually be working on tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central. So these two are importance. That's something that should be fixed too. This is impossible. And to find array key class. Detect when class extends or calls a method has been flagged internal. That's more static analysis. And then there's just all kinds of old issues. So I think next week, detect if Drupal developer dependencies were not installed properly. Composer found only in web root. Oh, 1 second. I want to read this. Composer file only found in web root. Drupal Finder assumption not necessarily correct. Drupal Finder plugin. Drupal Finder info. Problem is that upgrade status assumes that Drupal Finder successfully finds the project below the web root. Everything's wrong. As far as I can see, and 2 reasonably safe ways to access Composer information and any project layout during install update within the autoloader. The standard scaffold. I'm curious on this issue. What is this? Drupal Finder plugin. Oh, it's a Composer plugin. It's a class. Oh, I see. So you add it. Excuse me. So it's a plugin that's added to Composer and has the same logic of Drupal Finder, but it's built into Composer itself and has the same flaw. What I'm going to do is my own little bit of triage, and then I'm going to sign off. I'm just going to comment. Is this similar to the same issue in that Drupal build? Let's see. If so, it has this Finder plugin has the same assumption of Drupal in the name as the main Drupal Finder package. I just want to read this again. Carried over from improved guidance case where PHP stand is not found. What composer was used. Also posted in vendor binary not correct. PHP stand using DDEV multi-site. Honor new environment variables. Let's see. Vendor. No. I'm just going to save it for feedback and close it out from there. So next week, I will be back on the Drupal upgrade tooling, working on hardening the browser test-based default theme rule, and then also checks to ensure that pre-render callbacks are closures or implement render element interface. Look at that. I copied and it copied in a bunch of extra text. So I'll be working on that. Again, thanks to Palantir for sponsoring my time on Wednesdays to work for this. I will be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. to work on PHP stand for PHP 8 compatibility checks, and that is sponsored by Esteemed. So come back tomorrow, same time, and I'll be working on more tooling because the better PHP stand is, the better it is for our own static analysis and upgrade checks. So I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.